Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and something a little bit different. I've been asked a few times in comments now to put some more actual racing up rather than the track guide, as well as the track guides and the sort of league racing that I'm live streaming a lot of the time. So here it is, the first race that I've done in GT3 for a little while, here at Zolder, and we're in the Ferrari GT3, the 488, which is really good car, nice and balanced. I'm just picking this just to start with, just to get used to GT3 again, because I've been spending a lot of time in GT4, as you know, over the last couple of months or so since they were released. So I need to get back in these cars. I didn't really spend that much time with them the first time round, but a couple of comments, I thought let's put up a race, and I was just enjoying myself in sort of public hoppers the other day, just trying to get used to the cars and actually racing around. So you join me on board, obviously around Zolder in the Ferrari. We're currently provisional pole at the minute, but it's pretty tight. Only a couple of tenths between sort of first and second, as the curb inevitably takes someone's qualifying away from them on the left-hand side there. And actually, what we find through this lap is just starting to find a bit more time through here. Could have cut that a little bit more, get a little bit of an oversteer kick, but nice and smooth on the outside. Lose about 3 tenths or so, but away we go up the hill. So we could definitely get quicker than this. We know that we're going to have the edge over most people. You see that the second place just over a tenth behind us there. It's just slotted in there. We've got Janko down 7 tenths behind us, but he is on a lap at the same time. So difficult little track Zolder to get right. Obviously it's full of chicanes and trying to get the timing right, especially in qualifying where you're obviously trying to push a little bit more. Let's get another kick of oversteer. Need to maybe iron that out in this setup, as Janko goes second, not that far behind us. We just improved a little bit, but not too much. So, like I said, difficult track to get right, but we're starting on provisional pole. Really close, as you can see. There were 1.5 back to Janko, and then a couple of people further back, and then there's quite a big gap from 5th down. So let's join on board on the start then. Starting pole on the left hand side of the track, and the first few corners are always really difficult to navigate at Zolder. You've got this flowing, quite fast left. It's difficult to judge how much grip you're going to have on the cold tyres, but we seem to get through that alright. Janko in the Merc behind us, which is obviously super quick, not just around here but in general. That cars, we get a nice clean start, and there seems to be a good clean start throughout the field, really. And the first lap, I always think, is just about finding your feet. As long as you can keep the person behind you, then that's good. But we can already tell that Janko's actually, he's a super quick driver, and he's putting us under some serious pressure. He backed out of that move there, as you saw in the mirror. A little bit tentative through there, lots of sort of jumping and skipping, and he's got the run into us, into the second of the chicanes, really. And we're going to try and run it out on the right. It's actually incredibly difficult to make a move into here, because you can cut back on the left there really nicely, that we do. Not the greatest run through the right-hander, but we keep it flat through here, and although we get a bit of an oversteer, again, he's got a bit of a run of us. That Merc really working well. We're going to keep the position by braking just slightly on the inside of the track. Compromise our exit a little bit. We're on the power nice and early. In fact, he sort of over anticipated that a little bit much, and drops back a tiny bit. You can see that Merc's got some really good acceleration though. Brake on the pole on the right hand side just after the 100-metre ball. Cut this curb nicely, and you can see we just cut that curb. Bit of oversteer, get tapped round. The engine's cut quickly. It starts. We get it started as quick as we can. We're back up. We got a bit of damage. Even hit the wall just there, just for good measure, as I was sort of not really paying attention to things. But we're down back into 5th place. 16 minutes left, as we also figure out how to drive as we understeer, sort of 4-wheel drift through the first corner. And now it's catch-up time. So 14, we join it back with 14 minutes left. We're up into 4th place, as someone's had a bit of an accident ahead of us, and we can see straight away these curves so difficult to navigate. And of course they're going to claim another one. They're going to claim the Porsche over there. I really thought he was going to come back across the track onto us there. So super difficult to get round Zolder consistently if you don't really know how to take the curves that well, especially through those chicanes. Struggling to take this flat. What we do on this lap setup definitely needs a bit of work, but we join it on board now for what actually becomes the sort of quickest lap of the race. Really good through the first corner, just dropping down into second gear, just on the apex, just to get the nose just dipped in quite nicely. We were a 10th up on our previous time, which is a 29.2, which is roughly what we managed in qualifying actually. Obviously we're on race fuel now, and all different things. The track conditions are quite similar, so be a good comparison of what we should have achieved in qualifying really. Nice through there, nicely on the curb. Don't go on the grass on the outside there, as it will slow you down all the way up this straight into what is the first of two really tricky chicanes. Into second gear, you could take a little bit of curb on the inside, as long as you don't smack both of them really. You can take it one of two ways, either do one and not the other, or not the first one and then you can ramp up the second one. Brake early and you think you need to into this chicane, you can cut a lot, especially the second one. You should aim to almost get your tyre onto the dirt on the left hand side there, but staying on the tarmac obviously. Flat through this right hander, really quick up the hill. We're 4/10 up on our lap, stay to the left hand side, looking for the 100-metre board on the left hand side of the circuit, down into first gear, click the curb on the inside. As soon as you're on the curb, floor it, get the power down nicely in first gear, back up to half a second, 0.52 up now, coming into the final chicane. It's a little lamp post on the right hand side, now we brake. Down in through into first gear, you can cut it quite a lot. Obviously we saw what happened on the first lap, as I'm really quite tentative through there and I'd end up losing a tenth and a half there, but actually ends up being, you know, really solid lap, 28.8. Really good, and we're starting to catch up on the two guys ahead then, bearing in mind that, you know, Janko was putting under some serious pressure, so we're less than sort of 3 seconds behind him there. So back aboard then, 8 minutes to go. It's been a bit of a slog. We've been putting in some really good laps. The guys ahead haven't been making too many mistakes, but you see that the Merc has, not Janko, this is second place man, has made a mistake through the first couple of corners, and we're right on his tail now. And this is where, as a driver, you know, if you're following a car, you're really starting to get into hunting mode now. You can smell the prey. You've been chasing it for a while, and you can really sniff that you're getting closer to him and putting him under a bit of pressure. You know, the car in front is going to start braking earlier, and as we see Janko just go off, and again thought he was going to come back onto the track in front of us there, but curbs claim another person. And this is a lesson in not giving up, because it's a race of attrition, especially around here, and people are not going to be consistent at all. And you know, we were down in 5th place, we were out of it, we'd spun, we got hit round on the last game. No, yes, we did oversteer ourselves, but then Janko couldn't avoid us, and we got helped round a little bit. But we're down in 5th, out of the race. Everyone thought, oh yeah, I'm going to write Matt off, this isn't going to happen. But here we are, 7.5 minutes left of the race to go, and we're half a second or less behind first place. So really good lesson in not giving up, really chasing everything down, especially if you're in a longer race. Now it's all about seeing where we're quicker than this Merc, where are we going to be making this overtake. We know it's got really good acceleration, but where on the track are we finding the successes or not? Because we need to play to our strengths, remember. A little bit slow through the first corner from the Merc, and me really, I couldn't capitalise on that. So we're starting to take some different lines. So is he. He's starting to think in his mind, oh, this Ferrari's caught me up by loads over the last few laps. You know, it's only inevitable that he's going to get by, but covers off the line nicely. Actually, I brake a bit too late there, get a bit of a drift on, and managed to keep it on the tarmac there and not go too wide, which is crucial, because as soon as you get onto that grass or the gravel, it really slows you down. And remember, we are battling for the lead here, but Janko, although he had that incident, really isn't that far behind. It's only 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds. So we need to be cautious that we don't spend too much time battling as the chicanes claim another person. Bit of a cut there. There was a bit too eager through that chicane. I think I got a little bit distracted by the car on the right hand side. But you know what we've learned so far from this lap is we're probably a bit stronger through the first section, and possibly through that second chicane as well, as he runs a bit wide again and struggling to get the power down. So he's starting to feel the heat. We're starting to turn the heat up just a little bit more as well, trying to get a bit more consistent. It doesn't really matter too much about the lap times now. We're sort of pretty much guaranteed a podium. We're 10 seconds ahead of fourth. So as we get a much better line than him through the final chicane, and it's squeaky bum time now for the Mercedes, because we're all over him, and we're really going to try our best to sort of get past him. Way early braking there, but not too bad. We just lose a bit of momentum coming through the first corner. Now at this point I'm thinking, right, okay, we just need to be consistent. He's going to make a mistake, because we've seen everyone make a mistake so far in this race, including us. admittedly. It didn't last long in the lead, only not even a full lap, just to the first end of the first lap really in the final chicane. So it's the first time we've raced in GT3 for a long while, so I'm not setting out for a result, but I thought I'd share this sort of story for you. So we get a bit of an oversteer moment through the first half of that chicane, managed to correct it nicely, and we're back on the tail. Didn't actually lose too much time. They're braking earlier than you think you need to through this right-hander, not quite as early as that, though. We really do lose quite a lot of speed there, but 4 tenths down on our best lap time now, and turning a little bit late there to get out the throttle, which means we're going to lose all the way up this little mini back straight, I guess. Again, looking for the dark tarmac or the 100-meter board, down into first gear, too slow on the entry there to get a bit of a stab of throttle there, which is exactly what you don't want to do. But we've realised that Janko isn't catching us up too much, so we're sort of stable and we can focus on the car ahead, because I've talked about this a lot in my sort of racing videos before. It's all about mindset here and how you're going to get past the car in front of you. Are we going to go for a sort of last lap lunge? Where are the opportunities going to lie for us? But we're holding a good pace. Mid to low 29s is a strong pace around here. It's nothing to be ashamed of at all. We're having a good old ding dong, good old battle. Well, what we are seeing is he doesn't really have many weaknesses. It's going to be us that's going to have to make the move here rather than him making a mistake, because he is the only one out of the top sort of 3 that hasn't, or top 4 and probably lower down on the grid, that hasn't made a mistake over one of these curbs. So super impressed with that, and wish I could emulate it more regularly. He's quite slow through this chicane though, as we can sort of capitalise into the second one maybe at some point, but there's only 3.5 minutes left. How are we going to catch this guy? And I'm starting to doubt my speed here, and starting to doubt what we've achieved. But then we absolutely nail the chicane. A bit of a bump there, which is again set us back. Huge oversteer moment, and you just think, these are these small elements which make the difference, because if we just hadn't clipped that curb slightly, we would have been right on the back of the Merc here, and really, really challenging into the second half of this lap. And those are the moments which really separate people in the races. And unfortunately, this time around we were on the sort of good end of that curb, but there might be another instance where we sort of get a good run because of a curb, or he makes a mistake on one as well. So another lap down. Probably 2 laps to go now, so really not too much time to try and catch him up. And obviously it's one thing to catch him up and another thing to pass, as we're actually not anytime soon. If it was a couple of laps longer, we might be coming up to the back markers in 13th and 14th, but they shouldn't bother us. Should be us versus the Mercedes. Janko's there or thereabouts. If we do make a mistake, then we're going to be giving the win to him, if we take each other out or anything like that. But for the time being, this is between me and the silver Mercedes, and at the minute he seems to have the better of me. He seems to have, be the more measured of the two. We're so much better through that chicane. He takes a very different and safe line through there, but we sort of mastered that quicker line, which is quite good. Again, we're stronger through this second chicane. I think he's starting to feel the heat a little bit, starting to feel a bit pressured. Bit of a track limit there, warning, because getting a bit keen there, but that's fine. We've got another warning to go. Sometimes you've got to take these things into your own hands, as he's a bit wide there, so we're starting to see some chinks in the armour. A little bit early for him on the brakes as well, so he's a bit too far on the inside, going through the right hand hairpin there, and he's thinking, right, okay, I've just got to hold on to this for one more lap. One more lap, I've got to keep this Ferrari behind us. So as he's wide again into the final chicane, and we're thinking, whoa, okay, this is our chance, can we get a run there? But that Merc is so quick off the corners, especially, I don't know if I'm running a bit too much wing in this Ferrari as well, but that Merc certainly seems to sort of fly away from us, really going down the straight, which is obviously not what you want at all, because most of the time you're going to be overtaking onto a straight. He's starting to take some really defensive lines, and that's fine. We carry some good speed through the second corner. So does he though, and it's all going to be about how we sort of act around the final lap. We try and get a good speed through this right-hander, but unfortunately we just it's those small margins once again, and we've got on the grass in a key moment, because we'd be right up behind him, even closer than we are. Took a big risk going over there, took both of the curves. You can see the car bouncing up and down, and we actually lose quite a bit of time in the end because we couldn't get the power down, but there's still time. half a lap to go. We're much stronger through this second chicane, and we proved that again here as we're right on the back of him. You know, basically looking at our reflection in the rear bumper of that Mercedes. Again, don't time the turn into that right-hander particularly well, and he's covered off the inside there. See if we can get down the outside. He's braked extremely early, and in fact I really thought he was going to be into the corner there, so we actually almost cut the corner because we were going so slowly. Janko's just 1 second back from us now, going into the final chicane. He's super late on the brakes. We cut the corner a little bit, that's absolutely fine, and really didn't think I was going to hit him there. Janko goes by to take the win, and I'm going to wait because sportsmanship isn't dead, especially on this game. I really didn't think that we were going to hit him there. Just the momentum carried us through, but a bit of a misjudgment from me there. And as, you know, as I said, sportsmanship isn't dead. This is what I wanted to get across. I said sorry. It was a really good race. He said no worries, good race. You know, in the chat back, and that's what it's all about. We had a good battle. So what that we come second and third? Really good race, and hopefully that gave you a bit of an insight into some of the mindsets. Till next time, guys. See you later.